Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Reid. I'm the director of BSU Senior College. I'm here today with my two trusty colleagues, Kara Marks and Brendan Harvey. Brendan will be leading the presentation today, which is about how to enhance your Zoom experience. We are recording this event to be posted on our YouTube channel. Hello, YouTube viewers. Today is August 27th, 2025, and we are really excited because our senior college classes begin next week. So if you're new to our community, senior college is a lifelong learning program based here at Bridgewater State University for older adults. We offer short-term classes. Usually most of our classes are around 6 weeks long, and half of our classes are in person in Plymouth, Attleboro, Hingham, Bridgewater, at the senior center, and also at the public library here in Bridgewater, and also on our campus here in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. But we also offer 32 courses via Zoom. So the Zoom courses are a really important part of our program, and it's an area that we will always have because a lot of our members really like the convenience of taking classes from home in their, pajama bottoms and being able to not have to drive, especially if we have classes at night or in the bad weather. Our members also really like the ability to connect with other people that they wouldn't have connected with. So some of our faculty that teach our Zoom courses are from out of state, or they're folks that wouldn't be able to teach in person because of their full-time jobs, but they can teach on Zoom. So it really gives us a lot of flexibility. The other really cool thing about senior college is your membership is $95. It allows you to take up to 7 courses, which is quite an incredible value compared to other lifelong learning programs, but I'll let you do your own due diligence in that. But you can take 7 courses, and so you could take all 7 in person or all 7 on Zoom. But a lot of our Zoom courses are actually recorded, and then they're placed in a video on demand library that's only available to members. So if you enroll in 7 courses, but there are additional courses that you're interested in, you can just watch them at your leisure anytime. And the best part about watching a course, or even you can watch a session of a course you're enrolled in later. So say you had a doctor's appointment or you had to babysit the grandkids or whatever, you can catch up by watching the course in that video on demand library. And if someone talks too much, you can just fast forward. It's just like watching YouTube video. You can just like pick up the little mouse, the little cursor, and just drag it along. So I think that's really a convenient option. The other thing too is in that video on demand library is you get access to it all the way till mid-January. So you have some time to kind of watch classes after our semester ends, and our fall semester ends in mid-December. So you have about a month or so, 6 weeks, to watch any courses that you might be interested in. So the other thing is that we offer scholarships to people that are interested in them. So they are available. So all you have to do is email my colleague Kara Marks. She'll put her email here in the chat. It's just kmarks, M-A-R-X, at bridgew.edu, and you just request it, and it's no questions asked. So if you have a friend or a family member or a neighbor who you think might enjoy senior college, but maybe the price is not is prohibitive for them, then please send them our way. We would love to be able to give out more scholarships, and you'll be surprised at how we give away a few every semester, a handful, but we'd love to give away more. So keep that in mind as you move along in your community. But without further ado, so it's sort of meta, like we're here to talk about Zoom and how to Zoom, but you're on Zoom, so you know how to do it for the most part because everyone's logged in and looking great so far. But we'll really dive into more detail of how to make the most of your experience in Zoom, and you can use this information in senior college or elsewhere with other groups you're involved in. Kara, did I miss anything, or is there anything else, or anyone that's in the audience? I know my regulars always tell me when I miss anything. I think I covered most everything.
I think you got the big points. Yeah.
Okay, good. And more information is on our website. All the course descriptions are on our website. We have a full catalog on our website, so you can learn much more about the details. And also, we have a YouTube channel, so you can look that up too if you're interested in seeing. We had a faculty showcase last week that all the faculty, or a lot of the faculty, came on and gave a plug for their course for this fall. So if you want to see the faces of the faculty and make your decisions there. A lot of our members aren't signed up for their full 7 courses yet. So we hope if you haven't signed up for your full 7 courses, please know that you can add more courses at any time. But without further ado, I'm so excited to have my colleague here, Brendan Harvey. He's our trusted all things technology here in the College of Continuing Studies person, and he's just wonderful and so kind to come and offer this program for us today. And so I'll hand it over to you, Brendan. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jen. Hi, everyone. How are we doing today? Everyone good? We got some smiles, we got some nods. That's great. I'm going to share my screen with you real quick. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Can everyone see the PowerPoint well?
We got you. Looks
We
great.
gotcha. Awesome. Okay. So first, I just want to start by thanking Dr. Jen Reid and Kara Marks for arranging this webinar and just everything they've done for the senior college and everything they continue to do. It's an amazing program that is just thriving and flourishing, and that is also because of all of you. So I want to thank you for thriving and flourishing with the senior college. My name is Brendan Harvey. I'm the Assistant Director in the Online Program Support Center in the College of Continuing Studies at Bridgewater State University. I've been here for about 6 years. Most of that time, I've been helping students and faculty with their online synchronous courses, asynchronous courses as well. Basically just trying to make everyone have the best time possible online. I've been doing this basically since before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, I had assisted with the transition of most of the BSU's catalog from in-person to emergency remote classes, which involved a lot of Zoom and a couple other programs that had the similar feel to it, which is all to just say, I've been doing this for a while. I kind of have a good idea of what we all need to know in order to move forward, and so we're just going to move forward. So that's more about me right there. That's my lovely family, my wife and my 2 kids. They're growing up. They just went to their first day of school today, which is another year is happening very quickly. It's pretty impressive. So the general flow, I like to call it, because I don't get too stuck on like a hard plan with these things. I'm going to be happy to address questions as they come up. At the first part of the hour, I'm going to be basically just doing an overview of the features that I think are very important. We'll talk about some best practices that go along with those features, and basically just give you a highlight. Some stuff you're going to know, some stuff you're not going to know. If you were here, we ran this last year around the same time. If you were here for that presentation, it's going to be a lot of the same information. I think repetition is a very good thing for learning, so I think that I'm very happy that you are here, and I hope you're happy to be here too. After I go through those key functions and best practices, we're just going to open it up to an open forum. You'll be able to ask questions. We'll have discussions about certain things. We'll address anything that I did not address if anything does come up. And worst case, if someone has a real involved question, we have some breakout rooms that are ability to move everyone around, and we can address things one-on-one if need be, but we'll try to keep it so everybody's learning the whole time. I should be ranting and raving for just about 20 to 30 minutes. I get excited about things and I talk really fast, so I'm really conscious about trying to slow down. If at any point I am not speaking clearly or talking slow enough, please let me know. Jen can, kind of give me a nudge and say, hey, we're getting some questions and we're getting some requests for you to kind of like go over that again or chill out a little bit. I get that a lot. So to start, if you are here, you are using Zoom in some capacity. So great. If you do not already, we highly recommend you sign up for a free Zoom account, which is you just go out to zoom.us. There's a button that says sign up for free. This would make it so you have like a personal account with the Zoom program, similar to how like you have a Facebook account or you have, like a Amazon account. With that free Zoom account, are able to make your own Zoom meetings and calls that can go up to 40 minutes. Um, if you go past 40 minutes, you can just like turn it off and turn it back on again. You get another free 40 minutes. You can use it all day if you wanted to, with little breaks in between. And then it also would be saving your display name, your preferences across multiple platforms. So this is different than just signing in, and it says enter your name and you're basically joining as a guest. This would make you a permanent member of the Zoom community. Um, the next step beyond that would be to download the Zoom application. So some people may be joining just from the web application, which is opening up in your browser, Chrome or Safari or whatever you're using. You can also download a application version, which would be like downloading, Microsoft Word or something that is physically on the computer that you would then be able to open up, and it would save your preferences and provide you with just all of your features in one set space. You can find that by going to zoom.com/download, or it's as simple as going to a search tool on any web browser and say Zoom app download. It should be the first link. There's also an application for your smartphones or tablets. You just have to search Zoom on said phone or tablet. It's probably the first thing to pop up, but just make sure you're looking and finding this Zoom icon, the little white camera in the blue square. That is the Zoom account. I don't know. Sometimes there are some tricky people online and they're trying to get you to download the wrong thing. You want to just verify that you are downloading the Zoom application if you go to download the Zoom application. With that said, just so as I start going through all these features and functions, for the most part, they are going to have a very similar feel, regardless if you're using the application or the web browser or your tablet or your phone. But there are some differences between each one of those versions, and I'll try to point those out along the way. But if there is something where you're like, oh, I don't see the button he just talked about, it might be because you are on one version instead of another. Sometimes it's as easy as you are on a Apple Mac computer versus a Windows computer. But we'll try to highlight those as they come about. And there really aren't that many. It's just I like warning everybody. So we're going to start. A funny thing about teaching you about Zoom while in Zoom is that I cannot just highlight the features in my Zoom application because I'm sharing my screen and I am unable to show you the buttons as they live in Zoom. So I've created this PowerPoint and it has basically just like screen captures of what you should be seeing. As I just said, that may vary from here to there, but for the most part, all of this stuff should mostly be the same. The main things we are going to hit today are the microphone settings, the camera settings, the chat panel, the participant panel, and the reactions panel. Additional options is also there, but they are additional options, and we're not really going to talk about them much. I just like to point out that they're there. So moving right into reactions, because I think that's a great place to start for us right now. So we have in the main Zoom menu, there's a little heart icon and it says react. And this is basically a way for you to interact without having a full-on camera microphone conversation. The most essential reaction, I think, as we have it, especially in a classroom setting, is raise hand. This essentially perfectly mimics raising your hand in a physical classroom. It would basically have your chat window, your video window have a raised hand icon saying that you have something to say, you have a question. And if multiple people raise their hands, it will actually queue up people in the order which they raised their hands. So it can kind of help facilitate a conversation or make sure everyone's getting their turn in fair time. Another one that they just added, which I love, and we're kind of jump back and forth to this, but there's this be right back feature. If you have your camera and your microphone on, and we are in the middle of a classroom, but you have to get up to do something, you have to walk away, and you don't want to just leave your computer open, you can hit be right back and it will automatically shut off your camera and shut off your microphone. We're going to talk about how to manually do that in a little bit, but it will basically turn it off and let everyone know you are going to be right back. A little icon shows up that says, I'll be right back. And then when you come back, be right back is replaced with I'm back. You click on that, your camera and microphone will automatically turn back on, and you're right back to the races. Um, Less important, but equally neat icons here are these reactions. We have, clapping, thumbs up, heart. These are basically like the emojis that you might see when you're texting with your children or grandchildren, or just general people. They're not restricted by age. And you can basically say, you can give a thumbs up, and if an instructor is saying, "Does everyone understand?" Thumbs up gets the point across. If you have any kind of reaction, you can go there. There's this ellipsis, the three dots on the right-hand side. You could click on that and choose any emoji that comes to mind. Emoticon, I'm dating myself. But those are all available to you. This next row, underneath the reactions, these are also great for a classroom setting. We have the check mark, which is basically yes. A little icon will show up on your screen saying, yes, you are approving something. No, you are not approving something. This is slow down. So can you slow down would show up, and I would see, a certain amount of people have a slow down icon. Speed up. And then I'm taking a break, which isn't the same as be right back, but it would let people know that you are taking a break, stepping away, whatever is happening. So we're going to jump into the microphone settings. And this is a lot of information. I totally get it. We're going to go through it pretty slowly and just make sure that everyone's on the same page. It's just a lot of words. There's not actually a lot happening here. The most important thing for me to highlight, I hope you can see my mouse, is on the right-hand side of my screen. I have the audio icon here. And there's two versions. There's the audio icon with the microphone open, and there's the audio icon with the red line through the microphone. That is showing you if you are muted or unmuted. So if there is no red line, your microphone is live, everybody can hear you. If you are muted, nobody can hear you. You have to click that once in order to turn your microphone on. So you would go from muted, click the button, and you would be unmuted. For the most part, that's all we really need to do. After that, we kind of get into this troubleshooting area where maybe you're having trouble with your audio, and that's what the main chunk of this information is. If you see on the little icon here and also on these icon here, there's this little up arrow icon. We call this a caret. That caret icon basically expands the menu for your audio settings. This is as straightforward as you are going to select your microphone. Depending on your setup, you might only have one or two options for a microphone. You can also click save same as system, which would then just default to whatever your system is saved as. You can see which microphone is currently selected with that little check mark. And then you would do the same for speaker. So microphone is what you are talking into. Speaker is what you are hearing from. So same thing, you might have only one. If you're just on a laptop with no headphones, you might just see same as system, laptop, you're good to go. If you're like me and you have a couple different options, I have my headphones in, I have a second monitor that has speakers, I could choose a different way to hear things from the Zoom call if I needed. There's also things like this. This is one, Microsoft Teams Audio. Some applications on your computer have like a, what would you call it? A virtual version of speakers. So it's sometimes those show up as like additional icons. Most of the time, they never work and you shouldn't touch them. Then we have two other options. We have the test speaker and microphone, and we have advanced audio settings. So I'm going to move forward. We're going to talk about test speaker and microphone, and then I think we're going to just briefly touch on the advanced stuff. But again, on a day-to-day basis, mute and unmute are the things to do. And then selecting the microphone, if you're not hearing anything, these are the first place to start. Quick talk about the etiquette of microphones in a Zoom setting, in a Zoom classroom especially. If you are not actively participating, if you are not actively talking about something, it is very much recommended that you just have your audio muted when you are not trying to talk. It cuts down on background noise. It cuts down on distractions. It makes it so everyone's time makes a little bit more sense because they are then focused on the the presentation as is. So if you are not actively with a raised hand asking a question or providing some insight, please mute your microphone. And then as soon as you are called upon or however you are selected, unmute, say your piece, and mute again. Easy peasy.
Brendan, can I just interject one thing?
Absolutely.
I just want to emphasize that in terms of, these courses being recorded, and
Yes.
especially if there's noise in your background environment that you might be blind to, husband washing the dishes in the background, that kind of thing. It really is very distracting, and it's the only complaint I usually get
Hmm.
around, from members is, so and so, isn't muted. And I also just want to encourage the community is that it's perfectly acceptable. And I've done this myself. Brendan might remember one time I said, "Who's not on mute?" And it turns
Hmm.
out it was our boss, and it was his wife next to him typing away.
Oh, right. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But it is okay. It's okay to say, oh, to interrupt the facilitator or the instructor and say, oh, Brendan, just could you pause there for a minute? I think someone's not on mute. Like, it's okay for us to chime in and kind of police each other in a kind, friendly way to let folks know. Because sometimes you've just accidentally unmuted yourself and you're not aware of it. The instructors do have the power to mute people, but sometimes they're just talking and they're unaware of the noise themselves. And then there's a question in the chat. Sherry is hearing double right now. Sherry, I would recommend maybe logging out and logging back in, perhaps. Brendan,
If you're
I don't know.
hearing double, that is a little tricky. Logging off and logging back in might fix it. It also might just be if you are listening from you might be hearing your own microphone picking up the noise, like in a feedback loop type of scenario. But I would suggest signing off and signing back on, seeing if that resolves the problem. It also might be that you are joined in multiple windows. So if you click the button too many times and have two different Zoom windows open, you would be hearing me in both those Zoom windows, like the tabs on your computer screen. But that might be something that we have to address in one of those breakout rooms like we talked about. After the end of the presentation, which I'm sorry, but I sound nice. I think hearing me twice isn't that bad. But yeah,
Thanks,
I would
Brendan.
first start with signing out of everything and seeing if that fixes it, and then we'll go from there. Turn it off, turn it on again. So getting back to testing the speaker and microphone. If you were to click on that little caret and click on test speaker and microphone, a little test pops up. You would basically see these windows in succession. You would see one that says, "Do you hear ringtone?" and a little chime would start playing. If you hear the ringtone, good job, you win, and you can hit yes. If you do not hear the ringtone, you can click no, try another speaker, and it would change what speaker is selected. I didn't have the drop down here, but this is essentially would be that list from previous, the few input devices you have would be listed. It's just as easy to just hit no, try another speaker, and it would basically cycle through and see if you hear the chime. When you hear the chime, you're good to go. You click yes. Immediately after clicking yes, you would see speak and pause. Do you hear a reply? And you can just say testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. You would then have that pause and it would play back to you testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. If you hear yourself, then you're good to go and you hit yes. If not, you select no, try another microphone. This is two things to point out. One, when you go into this test, you are muted and pulled out of uh, the full Zoom experience. So no one is hearing you take this test, and no one is hearing your input and output as you are testing these things. So you can have a little bit of confidence there. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I actually just blanked on, but it has to do with once you click on this and that, if I remember it, I'll tell you. It's basically the most important thing is no one's going to be able to hear you test these things. Oh, there it is. The other thing to point out is this is testing the devices you have and if they are functioning properly. This does not save you if you accidentally muted your entire computer, if there is a wire unplugged, if there is something outside of the Zoom application that is the problem. But this is a great place to start to try to get your microphone and speakers working properly. If it wasn't this, it would be something else, and we would have to address that as we came. But this is a great place to start. Now, this is going to be a whole bunch of information, but this is the advanced audio settings. I like to show this because I feel like having all the information out there is important for people. That being said, you can probably ignore 90% of this, 95% of this. The main things I want to point out is one, if you have a Zoom account, like we mentioned, and especially if you have that Zoom application downloaded, like we mentioned, anything you change in here will be saved throughout any time you join Zoom under that account. So if you select a certain microphone, if you change some noise suppression, which we'll talk about in a second, if you make it so you're muted upon entry, anything like that, it will be saved with your account, which I think is super handy. The first chunk here is just that same testing speaker and testing microphone, just in a different place. So there's essentially that shortcut, and then you can hear. You can also alter your input and output volume. So say I'm talking and you kind of hear me, but I'm not very loud. If you went into these advanced settings, you could artificially bump my volume up. It would make it a little bit more degraded. It would make me a little bit more obnoxious. Not that that's the easiest thing to do, but you can upgrade that a little bit. And then there are just some real, very like in the weeds audio settings that we don't really need to talk about. A couple things that I do like to talk about are the background noise removal. This basically will take some programming, and it will make it so you can functionally remove background noise for your Zoom experience. I like to keep it at auto. If you want to play around with it, it will basically depending on how intense you make it, it can remove a TV in the background or somebody typing on their computer up to like it can really kind of like focus the audio. That being said, it can also degrade how you're hearing and speaking. So, proceed with caution. The only other thing that I really like to point out is under the very bottom. So since I can't scroll through and show you the screen as is, this is basically part one of the window. And then if you used your computer to scroll down in this window, this is the second part. And at the very bottom, there are a couple of great features, namely automatically join computer audio, which basically means automatically go to my headphones, automatically have Zoom connect. Otherwise, every time you join a Zoom call, you have to click a button that says, yes, join computer audio. And the fewer buttons I have to click in a day, the better I am. And then also mute my microphone when joining. I do this case by case, but if you wanted to, you could just always be muted when you join, have that moment to prepare yourself, and then unmute when you're ready. So that is a great feature as well. Those are really the high level, not high level advanced, medium level advanced audio settings. But again, as you're using Zoom, if you are unmuted, when you're done speaking, please mute. It's going to improve the experience for everybody. If you have any questions about these very like in the weeds things, I'm happy to address them at the end. After audio comes video, and it's going to look very much the same. First things first, just as I said before, if there is no red line, your video is live. You can also probably see yourself, which is a great indication. If your video is off, there is a red line, and you will have, instead of a video of yourself live, you'll see your name displayed somewhere unless you turn that feature off, which we might talk about in a second. My personal opinion is that when you are joining a Zoom call or in a Zoom setting, everyone prefers to have your camera. People would prefer if you had your camera on. This is basically the reason Zoom exists, is so we can see each other and we can kind of like have that near in-person experience. That being said, it is my personal opinion that it is beyond okay to start with your camera off and basically make sure that you are presenting yourself how you want to be presented before quote unquote going live. Imagine like basically imagine you were going on TV. You're going on the Tonight Show, right? You want to make sure that your hair is looking right. You want to make sure that you're, presenting your best self. So take that moment, make sure you're how you want to be seen, and then you make your video live. Similarly, when it comes to like video etiquette, if you have to get up, if you have to change something, if you have to move to a different space in your home, if you notice that you're hot and you want to get out of the sun, it is very much recommended that during those transition moments, you just turn your video off, just like you had to mute yourself on your microphone. It's great to see you. We love seeing you. We don't have to see you the whole time. It is not required, and I actually recommend that, especially during those movement periods or those transition periods, you have to get up. You can click that off button on your camera and just turn it off for the moment.
One interjection here. So
Sure.
this is my, you've probably heard me say it. It is my, it's very distracting to the presenter if they're
Hmm.
looking at the gallery view to see you walking with your laptop like around your house from your kitchen to your bathroom to, wherever. And also it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Like you might accidentally show something in your background that you don't want the whole class to see. So
Hmm.
just remember if you are moving, you're not seated anymore, like shut and you're going and you want to listen and that's fine, like, oh, someone came to the door and you're trying to listen, or you run into turn over the laundry, you can do all those things, but shut your camera off just to avoid any scary mishaps of your partner in the background changing their shirt or something like that. So that would be my biggest, and I think sometimes people just don't realize they've left their camera on. I've seen, I've gone
Absolutely.
on roller coaster rides around someone's house out to the yard, in and back, and all the things. So
Absolutely.
we'll emphasize that for sure.
Yeah. And similar to that note, you want to make sure that you are, like I said, presenting your best self. And that can also include your environment. And this goes for video and audio. But like when you are going live on a Zoom session, you want to make sure you are in a comfortable place, but also that if you are going to be on camera with your audio playing, it is a comfortable, quiet place. It's a place that has good lighting. Daylight is the best. Direct daylight can be very distracting. So these things should be thought of beforehand, so that you can then, of course, put yourself best foot forward as you go, a virtual best foot forward. Um, Basically, this is very similar. The settings here underneath the caret icon that we talked about before for the camera video settings are pretty straightforward. First one is select a camera. Most people, myself included, are going to have one camera and it should be good to go. If you have a laptop, normally every laptop has a camera built in. If you have a desktop, there's a chance you have more than one camera. If you're on a phone or tablet, you might have a forward-facing camera and a backwards-facing camera, and those would be available here to select from. For the most part, there's a camera, choose that camera. There are, again, similar to what I said about audio settings and those like virtual settings, those virtual uh, input devices, there might be a chance that you have a virtual, Logitech Program 3, like quote unquote camera. It probably doesn't work, and you probably don't want to choose that one, but you might see it there just in case. Good to mention. Um, some quick buttons that we will talk about in more detail. Blur my background. I personally like to have a blurred background. There's not even anything like scary or interesting back there, but it just kind of like helps focus on me. The Zoom program does a really great job of kind of like selecting where I am compared to my background and like making me stand out. It's improving every day. Um, and it's just a nice way to kind of like focus and get rid of those distractions. Like Jen said, if someone's in the background or just like your house, not necessarily is even cluttered, but like you don't want somebody seeing your living room. Like you hit the blur background, they're not seeing it anymore. And that's really handy. The next two items we're going to talk about in a separate window. Basically, they're background effects. Adjust your background effects, choose a video filter, and then we'll get into the advanced video settings, which is, again, just like a couple of advanced things that we don't really need to touch on too much, but we'll touch on them because I like to make sure everybody has all the information they need. So, background and video effects. This is real close to opening a can of worms. So I'm just going to touch on some real basic stuff. Normally there would be a picture of me in these little windows, or you if you were the one going through this menu. Um, the main ones to talk about are virtual backgrounds. This is again where you could select that blur icon to blur your background. You can also select from some preset backgrounds, just like static images or some videos that can kind of play behind you as you are going. You can also hit this little plus icon and you can upload from your computer or device your own backgrounds, kind of similar to, I believe, Jen and Kara had some great shots of BSU in their background. It can be, picture of your grandkids. It can be a picture of, some flowers. It can be whatever you want. With that said, proper, Zoom etiquette. Nothing distracting. Don't, it's not necessary. It is fun, but you don't feel like when you're selecting something, if it's more simple, simple is best. Um, Now the real weeds of it, the background effects. If you have your video on, there's a whole section of video filters, which are basically just like silly things you can do to your screen. You can have some different like lighting effects. You can put frames around your face, or you can even like give yourself cat ears, or like a halo around your head. These are fun, and they are kind of neat in a like in a personal setting. Say you're using your free Zoom account to call a family member and you're just like playing around. It can be a good laugh. Not necessary or really even recommended for a classroom setting. I do like to mention is they are here because sometimes people say, "Hey, I've had cat ears for about 3 months and I don't know how to get rid of them." It's in here. You just want to make sure your video filters are set to none, and then the cat ears should go away. If you still have cat ears, that's more of a personal problem, and we'll have to address that as they come. Um, Outside of that, we have our advanced video settings. Again, this is a lot of information that we do not really need to get into, but I'll try to touch on the basics. Mirror my video basically switches the camera so people are seeing you as they would see you in real life. Most cameras on computers flip for some reason. Um, it's not necessary. That's where the button is. The two things that I'd like to point out here is always show video preview when joining. This basically gives you a little moment for that prep that I talked about. Before you join the session, you can see your video and what you are going to be showing as you go live. So that's a great moment to, give your hair a toss. Make sure that everything is looking the way you want. Make sure your blur background is on if you want your blurred background, however it works. Similar to that, you can say stop my video when joining. So if you were joining a new classroom, your video would always be off to start and you would have to turn it on. When you do this, always show video preview dialog when joining. You have the option to turn your video on and off at that point. So it's kind of there. It's two ways to tackle the same problem. Some people like having their video on, but they don't like looking at themselves. And that is what they call self-view. And you can choose to hide self-view so that you're not distracted by, I don't know, seeing yourself in the mirror. Essentially, you can turn hide self-view off. I really like doing hide self-view, especially when we are presenting, just because like it's, again, removing distractions, allowing you to better focus on what is happening in the classroom around you. And then the very last thing is the maximum participants displayed per screen in the gallery view. This is essentially how many little videos you will see in that grid setting when no one is sharing their screen and you can see everybody. In my personal opinion, 25 is already a very big number. It's hard to really like connect with that many people already. So when their screens are smaller, it's nice to see everybody, but it kind of gets a little bit, and this just might be me, but a little overwhelming. 49, that's crazy. That's so many people on screen at once. It would basically just make everyone tiny little thumbnails. But you can play around with those features and see which way you like it, and that is how it would be. That's really the overview of the advanced video settings. Again, video settings in general. If you are going to join a Zoom and you want your video on, make sure that you're, presenting your best self as you see fit during that session by having your camera off, making sure everything's looking the way you want it to look, and then turning your camera on. Uh, Instructors love when their students have their cameras on. It really helps them read the room, the virtual room, and make sure that everyone is kind of into it, kind of paying attention, nodding along, understanding points. So we highly recommend having your video on, especially in a classroom setting. But if you are going to be moving from point A to point B, it's perfectly acceptable, if not recommended, to turn your camera off, and do whatever you need to do, come back, turn your camera back on when you are ready. And I think I heard Jen say that
Yeah, I was just saying, I teach at another institution and I'm teaching two classes this semester. They're both the same course, but on two different nights. And my Tuesday night class, almost all of them have their camera on, or at least if they are speaking, they'll turn their camera on. My other class, no one turns their
Isn't that
camera
funny?
on.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And the students, they're busy working adults, and I meet them where they're at, and I certainly don't require it, but it does from an instructor. By the end of the 90 minutes, I am spent because
Sure.
I'm just feeling like I'm kind of talking to
You're
a
just
void.
talking to a wall. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
do use the emojis a lot and they kind of say things in the chat, which helps. It helps when I'm saying something and they give me a heart emoji and I'm like, okay, good. They're listening because otherwise you just sort of think you're talking to a void. And
For sure.
from an instructor's point of view, it is really helpful if the camera's on, but not
Absolutely.
required and not every minute of the whole class, but it does certainly help.
Exactly. And again, kind of the point of Zoom, outside of being like a great conferencing platform, is so that we can see each other, right? So if we're not taking advantage of this feature, then we're kind of doing everybody on the call a disservice. Uh, Again, just like Jen said, I also completely understand if you are, listening in on a class and also like making yourself some dinner or doing something, in tandem with taking that class. At that moment, you're unable to provide 100% of your attention. Um, it might be best to have your camera off during that time, but the more focused you can be on the class and the more present you can be, the more you're going to take away from it. So that being said. So just one more time, just to make sure we're all in the same place. For audio, you want to find a quiet location when joining. You want to make sure there isn't a lot of background noise, no TV on, no other individual, no dog barking, that kind of thing. And if you are not actively speaking, just please mute your microphone. It's as easy as clicking the button to turn it on, and then when you're done speaking, turn it right back off. And it will really kind of help provide a bit of streamlined focus for the entire presentation or classroom. Similarly, for video, you want to find a nice, well-lit space, comfortable for yourself. You want to find a stable camera place so that you are giving a consistent video of yourself. I see, every now and then you'll find somebody who has like their laptop on their lap, and like as they shift around, like their camera's moving around like they're on a boat. Again, if that is where you are at, we're happy to see you. But if you are able to have a set positioning like I do for my camera here, I find it can be much better for everyone as far as reducing distractions. If something is distracting, if you have to move, if you have to go do something else, if you just want a break from being on camera, turn your camera off when you don't need it on, turn your camera on when you're ready to be on camera. It's as easy as that. Similar, and for both of these things, it's not on the slide, but having that moment to prepare before you go live, quote unquote, making sure you are presenting how you want to present, making sure you're able to be heard how you want to be heard, then turning your microphone or your camera on means the world. I think it's going to very much help everyone have a good time during your Zoom classrooms. And I think that, oh, no, there's more. But wait, there's more. We also have the chat feature, which is a really handy feature. I personally love the chat. It's kind of like my passive way to interact while we are going into having a classroom setting. The main things to know about the chat panel. So if you clicked on this chat button, on your Zoom menu. You would get this chat panel normally on the right-hand side of your screen. I think that if you are using a phone specifically, you have to switch over to a chat panel and swipe left and right. But on a desktop or laptop, you would be seeing this chat log section on the right-hand side of your screen. Um, the main things to point out is this chat log would basically be everything in succession as people type it out. The other thing that I really want to mention is oh, I went ahead. The other thing I really want to mention is there is this section down here where you would be typing your message and sending your message. So you type everything out and then you either hit enter or hit this little paper airplane icon to send your message to the world. You really need to be focused on who you are messaging. So there's this little icon here. If there were 20 people in this session, when I made this screen capture, all 20 people would be listed. The best bet is to just choose everyone. And the best bet is to communicate with everyone. If you want to have a side conversation with someone, best to contact them after the class. You know, it's kind of sometimes there are real specific moments where you might need to like message the instructor privately or something like that. For the most part, if you can have it just send to everyone, I highly recommend just sending it to everyone. Can we have a copy of the PDF? Do you know when the next meeting is? All these things are going to benefit everybody. So why not just have your questions or answers sent to everyone?
I just want to echo that, Brendan. Every single Zoom session that I run, people send me private messages almost the whole time. And I feel like people are just a little nervous to just say their question. But as I tell
Mhm.
my students, if you have that question, the chances are someone else has the question. And it's
Absolutely.
really helpful to the facilitator or instructor for you to put it in the public chat and not be private messaging them while they're facilitating. So that's a really good point. Thank you.
No problem. And then I am aware of the time. I'm happy to stay a little bit later if we do have a lot of questions after this. Apparently I'm talking for a very long time. The next part is the participant panel. That is similar. It's next to the chat. You can see this little participant icon, and then this little number shows how many people are in the session. If you click on that, either to the right where the chat would be, or underneath, or actually above the chat, you would see participants, and this would be a list of everyone included in the session as it is right now. So you probably see about 20 names to the right in the participants panel if you have it open. The only real thing that I want to point out here is that in this section, you can click on the More button next to your name specifically, and you can rename yourself or edit your profile picture. The most important one is rename yourself. If you don't have an account that's saving your name, it might be handy to go in here and update your name if it isn't as you like to be presented. This is how we get rid of the Nana's iPads or the phone number, whatever your number is. Um, Best practice is just your full name, Brendan Harvey. That's who I am. That's differentiates me from other Brendans. That makes it so if I am asking a question or if I am um, it just shows that I'm present in the class, especially for like attendance purposes and stuff. But basically, you would find yourself in the participants panel. You would click on more, and you would click on rename, and a little text box will pop up and say, "What do you want to be called?" And you type that in, and you send it, and it's as easy as that. This might be a great opportunity. If you have that panel up, you can try renaming yourself now, and we'll just see how that goes. But that's really the only thing you really need to know about the participants panel outside of seeing everyone else who is in the session with you. And then just captions and more options. Just real quick. Most Zoom sessions nowadays have a auto caption feature. It's not perfect, but it is awesome because I personally love captions. If I'm watching a TV show at home, captions are on, the volume's low. I have kids at home. So like it just like captions help you in so many ways that like I don't think we really realize. Um, reading information while listening to it can also help like with retaining information. So I tend to have my captions on. There is this show captions button. That's how you would enable it. You would click on show captions and then they would pop up. There's also transcription services. So at the end of this, when we make the Zoom recording, there's going to be a transcript of everything I've said, God forbid. And that is something that allows for those captions to happen. Um, Outside of that, there isn't really much to know. You can change the language and stuff. I don't really think, if you want to go for it, but English is the way to go. If you're somehow getting your captions in a different language, that's where you would change it back to English if that's what you would prefer, or if you prefer something else, that's great too. And then I'm not going to get really in the weeds about the more options button, but I just want to say that especially if people are joining from the from a browser or from certain computers with certain screen sizes and stuff, sometimes Zoom doesn't have the ability to show all of the icons in the Zoom menu at that bottom that I pointed out. Sometimes, especially like captions or a few other things, sometimes they're hidden under the more options icon, which is the little ellipses with the circle. So if you are having trouble finding the captions or finding the participants panel or the chat, if it's not in that main run, there's a good chance it's hiding under more options. So you would just click on this, it would pop up a bunch more options, and that would be the best way to go about that. And then just again, to hammer it home, we're joining from a quiet location. We're reducing the background noise, and we are muted when we are not speaking. Raising hands, getting attention, unmuting when called on. And then when we're done speaking, we're muting right back up. Video, find that well-lit space, stable camera position. And then if you are moving around or you need to turn your camera off, turn your camera off. And when you're ready to turn your camera on, turn your camera back on. Like I said, there's also now in that reaction section that be right back feature, which automatically turns your audio and camera on. And I'm going to start recommending to people, starting with you all today, that is a great way to just note that you are going to be back and turn your camera on and off without having to toggle a bunch of buttons. If you have any questions, if you have a comment, raising your hand is the best way to go about that. That is, again, a reaction feature. You can raise your hand, you'll be called upon at an appropriate time, and you can continue having your conversation. If you have passive questions or something that doesn't need to be addressed, certainly, or you just want to say, hey, that's a great point, but you don't want to interrupt your instructor to say that, use the chat feature. It is there so we can have a log of everything that's been said, and it's a way for us to kind of like pool and facilitate questions without breaking up the flow of a presentation. And then, as I said, you can update your name or create a free Zoom account to have your name saved every time you join Zoom. And that is just a great way to make sure that everyone knows who you are, because we're trying to meet you. It's nice to meet you. And I think that gosh, that was a long time, and I'm so sorry. But that is the main presentation, and I'm happy to hang out for a bit and we can talk about anything you have questions about.
Brendan, thank you so much. You're such a wonderful presenter, and you always give the information in such a warm and down-to-earth way, approachable way. So thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Just kind of some rapid fire questions that have come in. So one is around like moving the people. Francis had a question around like moving, you can pick up the presenter and like put them in different places. Like right now I could, like I'm looking at my screen and it's like you, and then next to you is Barbara Raposa, but I can pick up Marcia like tile and move her on my own view.
Hmm.
And I think what Frances is trying to say, she said, is there a way to move the person who's speaking in the in the view so that you can see the information that's being their screen is being shared? So maybe talk about like view and then speaker, gallery,
Sure,
multi-speaker,
sure,
that kind of
sure.
thing.
Yeah. So when a presentation is being shared, like when I was sharing my screen, it tends to do something called presenter view where it's going to take whoever is speaking the most. You see how I have a little green box around my name or my video because I'm the one talking. So it's pointing that out and it's saying, hey, Brendan's talking, pay attention to that. If I was presenting my screen, I would probably be also in a small window as that presenter view, the speaker view. So that is kind of the default. If you are in the Zoom application, in the top right-hand corner, there is an option to click View. And then this is again a little in the weeds, but there's the ability to choose different versions of how you are seeing everyone. Right now, most likely for most of us, we're in gallery view where I see that 25 pile of videos and I can see everyone's bright and shining faces if they have their screens on. You can change that to speaker view, which would then make me the biggest screen, and there would be like a smaller version of everybody else on top. That can be really handy if you're trying to focus on whoever is speaking. Or multi-speaker will make it so like the last two people having a conversation would be highlighted. For the most part, if someone is presenting something, they will be put in that main spot by default. So I think that's answering your question. If it's not, please let me know if there's anything I can cover. But does that answer the question? Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yes, hi. So, what was happening when you were sharing?
Hmm.
Um, you were in the little box.
Hmm.
I could not see the rest of the information,
Right.
but in the little box that has your picture. It has to the left like a plus and to the right a left. So I didn't want to click on it because I didn't want to delete it. But is there a way to move it up so I can see you or make it smaller?
I
Make
th
it smaller?
I think what you're asking, yeah, it's you can normally, if there's a window floating on top of a presentation view, you can normally grab the top of that window or grab your menu and you can kind of like drag it around. Since I'm not presenting right now, you probably don't have that feature anymore. But most of that stuff can be moved around to kind of customize and make it so you're having the best experience possible. Just normally, similar like if you have like a window on your desktop or laptop and you want to move it, you just grab towards the top and kind of drag around, and it should move where you want it to move.
Thank you.
No problem.
And so, Margaret, you had a kind of a similar question. Does what we just talked about help in regards to your question as well about being able to see the participants along the side? Again, that's for at least on my view, there's a option at the top that says view, but I guess it might be dependent on what kind of device you're on.
Normally that stuff is hidden under view. I try not to get too into view because for the most part it's working as intended, and like it's easier to lose what you're trying to or lose something versus finding something you're looking for, if that makes sense. So you know the buttons are there, but it's not necessarily basics. They're a little bit more advanced features.
Go ahead, Margaret.
No, it was just that I've always been able to see the shared screen as the fuller part of the screen and then the participants on on my right side. And today I couldn't seem to move them from the top of the screen. You know, there were only like 4 or 5 people. It's not like I was having to look at the whole gallery, but I just didn't know if there was an adjustment that had been made somehow or another with an upgrade.
That's possible. I do know what you're speaking of, where normally like it might depend. Are you joining from your from an application or from like a browser? Do you know?
That I don't know because I did take note of that Zoom comment that you made at the very beginning about signing it up for free. I think I'm in Zoom, but a Zoom application, but
Okay.
I'm not certain.
Yeah, I think that the difference of having the people on the side versus people on the top is dependent on if you are joining from the web version or the program application on your computer.
Uh-huh.
So it might just be that maybe we joined a different way today. It could also just be like a feature change. That's a fun thing about all programs nowadays is like if it isn't changing every few weeks, it's not worth it, I guess. I don't know. I get very frustrated about it. But it's just so I do believe that it's probably just depending on how you joined today is affecting how you are seeing that share and the people at the top of the share screen.
Okay, thank you.
So just a couple quick things. Brendan, would you be willing to share the PowerPoint with Kara, and then Kara can send it out to all the people that are registered for this event?
Absolutely.
Okay, and if you don't get the PowerPoint from Kara, just send her an email. Maybe you weren't like officially registered. I'm sharing my screen right now. Can you see the senior college website, or are you seeing like an email?
We see the website.
Okay, great. So one person asked, how do they see the members only video library? So when you get to the website, you want to make sure you're signed in. So you can see I'm already signed in here with a test account. And so if you're signed in and you have an active membership with Senior College, you'll just go down here to where it says members only video library. My test account doesn't have an active membership because I didn't pay for a membership. So that's where it will be for all of you. So someone had a question about that in the chat. I hope that helps. And if you ever have any questions about getting access to the video library, just email Kara. Kara will help you and send you instructions. She can hop on the phone with you at any time around that. I think I've hit all. Oh, someone asked what the AI companion is.
Don't worry about it. It's, I mean, it's kind of, so AI is the big cool new thing, right? It's everywhere. Zoom has basically created, obtained, bought a version of the AI companion, super high level because it's really probably not worth getting into for meetings, for classes. It can be handy where it can basically like listen in. That's the thing to note, right? It's going to listen to the conversation, and it can basically provide summaries. It can provide notes at the end. It can it can, you can ask it like, did anyone mention me? And it can tell you like, yeah, they said that you're supposed to be doing this, this, and this. And you go, oh, okay, and then you know go do that, that, and that. For us here today, Jen and I were actually talking about maybe later having like an advanced Zoom session where we might get into that kind of stuff. But right now, it's just first off, it's new, and I don't trust anything that's new. And then second off, it's AI, and I don't trust anything that's AI. And then third, it's I think it's just for your classes, it's probably not going to benefit you. So I wouldn't worry about it too much today.
And okay, so last question because we're over time. Go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, I was just going to reply to somebody who was asking about moving the box because it was blocking the screen. If you're on an iPad, it's a little bit different. Mine has a plus and minus bubble. And if I click the minus, it will temporarily take that away. And then there's a little blue circle in the bottom to bring it back. So if that's what was giving you trouble, try that.
Thank you so much. That's helpful. I know a lot of folks in senior college are zooming in from their phones or iPhones or iPads. So I really appreciate when folks chime in with how different the application looks for you. So thank you so much, Nicole.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I think that'll do it. Thank you so much, Brendan, and for everyone. I can't believe we had such a big crowd today. I expect to see all of you modeling really good Zoom etiquette in your classes because now you all have this additional education, and we'll look forward to seeing you this fall in your senior college class. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, everyone.